Shadowed Battlegrounds presents the power of her prayer. It was a cool autumn morning when Sarah watched her husband Daniel march off to war. The fields around their home were golden with the harvest, but her heart felt heavy, torn between the beauty of the day and the weight of uncertainty. Daniel was a soldier, a brave man, and he had served his country with honor. But this deployment was different. The danger felt more real, the distance farther. Each day that passed without word from him only deepened her fears. Every night she knelt beside her bed, her hands clasped tightly in prayer, her whispered words filling the quiet house. God, protect him, keep him safe, bring him back to me. She would stay on her knees for hours, sometimes until the early light of dawn crept through the curtains. Her faith was unshakable, but so was the worry that gnawed at her soul. She knew the horrors of war, the stories from the front lines, where whole units had been wiped out in a single ambush. But she also believed in the power of prayer, and in her heart, she trusted that God was listening. One evening, as she lit a candle by the window, a chill ran down her spine. It was as though a shadow had passed through the room, and an unspoken fear gripped her heart. She fell to her knees again, this time with more urgency, more desperation. Lord, I beg you, watch over Daniel tonight. Guide him through the darkness. Protect him from harm. Please, God, don't let him be lost to me. Across the sea, in a desolate battlefield, Daniel and his unit were engaged in a brutal fight. The sky was black with smoke, and the ground trembled with the roar of artillery. The enemy had surrounded them, cutting off all routes of escape. One by one, his comrades fell, their voices silenced by the chaos around them. Amidst the gunfire and explosions, Daniel could feel the weight of the inevitable pressing down on him. His strength was fading, his hope almost gone. Yet in that moment of despair, he heard a faint voice, his wife's voice, whispering in the wind, God, protect him. Something within him stirred. He couldn't explain it, but he felt a presence, a shield of sorts wrapping around him. With a newfound strength, he took cover behind a crumbling wall, avoiding the spray of bullets that tore through the air. As the battle raged on, Daniel found himself in the middle of what felt like a miracle. The enemy forces pressed forward, overwhelming his unit, but for some reason, they seemed to overlook him. He moved from shadow to shadow, unnoticed, unseen. His heart pounded in his chest as he realized that he was the only one left. His entire unit had been decimated, yet here he was, alive. When the gunfire finally ceased, Daniel stood alone on the battlefield, surrounded by the fallen. He knelt down, his hands trembling, and whispered, "Thank you, God." He knew then, without a doubt, that Sarah's prayers had reached him across the miles, protecting him when he was at his most vulnerable. Back home, Sarah felt a peace wash over her that she hadn't felt in weeks. She didn't know why, but she believed deep down that Daniel was safe. Days later, a letter arrived, and with tears in her eyes, she read the words that confirmed what she already knew. Her prayers had been answered. Daniel had survived the battle against all odds and was on his way home. As the days passed and Sarah waited for his return, she continued to pray. But this time, they were prayers of gratitude. The moment she saw him walk through their front door, tired but alive, she rushed into his arms, her heart overflowing with joy. God kept you safe, she whispered, her tears mingling with his. Daniel held her close, his voice soft with emotion. It was your prayers, Sarah. I felt them. They saved me. If you like this story and want to see more, click the top left. If you want to help us, please hit the subscribe button, top right. Thank you.